Dean of the Chapel Royal in any kingdom can be the title of an official charged with oversight of the kingdom's chapel royal, the ecclesiastical establishment which is part of the royal household and ministers to it. England. In England, the Dean of the Chapel Royal was appointed by royal warrant and appointed its offices and staff. The office of Dean has been by custom held by the Bishop of London since 1748. In practice, the chapel, its choir, and the various chapel buildings associated with it come under the oversight of the sub-dean, who is the Queen's residential chaplain. Office holders c. 1349, John de Woodford, c. 1356, John de Leake, c. 1380, Thomas de Linton, c. 1389, John Boer, c. 1400, Richard Kingerston, Archdeacon of Hereford and Canon of Windsor, c. 1403, Richard Prentice, Archdeacon of West Ham and Canon of Windsor, 1414, Edmund Lacy, Canon of Windsor, c. 1421, Robert Gilbert 1432, Richard Pratty, c. 1440, John Croucher, c. 1447, Robert Isco, c. 1449–1468, William Say, Dean of St. Paul's from 1457 and Archdeacon of Northampton from 1464, c. 1471, William Dudley, Canon then Dean of Windsor, 1476, John Gunthorpe, Dean of Wells and, until 1478, Archdeacon of Essex, c. 1483, William Chanter, Archdeacon of Derby, c. 1489, Richard Hill, Bishop of London, c. 1496, Thomas Jane, Bishop of Norwich, c. 1500, Richard Nicker, c. 1501, Geoffrey Simeon, 1502, William Atwater, Canon of Windsor, 1504–1514, then Bishop of Lincoln, 1521, 1572, William Day, Dean of Windsor, 1595, 1618–1626, Lancelot Andrewes, Bishop of Ely until 1619, then Bishop of Winchester, 1626, William Laud, Bishop of St. David's until 1626, then Bishop of Bath and Wells until 1628, then Bishop of London until 1633, then Archbishop of Canterbury, 1643. 1651, Richard Stewart, 1642–1651. The 7th of June 1660, Gilbert Sheldon, Bishop of London. The 2nd of October 1663, George Morley, Bishop of Winchester. The 7th of February 1668, Herbert Croft, Bishop of Hereford. The 5th of April 1669, Walter Blandford, Bishop of Oxford until 1671, then Bishop of Worcester. The 15th of July 1675, Henry Compton, Bishop of London. The 28th of December 1685, Nathaniel Crewe, Bishop of Durham. The 20th of September 1689, Henry Compton, Bishop of London. The 17th of July 1713, John Robinson, Bishop of Bristol until 1714, then Bishop of London. The 15th of March 1718, William Talbot, Bishop of Salisbury. The 17th of November 1721–1748, Edmund Gibson, Bishop of Lincoln until 1723, then Bishop of London. For deans after 1748, see Bishop of London. Sources: Hillebrand, Harold. The Early History of the Chapel Royal. p. 243. The Chapel Royal Deans and Sub-Deans. Retrieved 6 April 2012. Scotland. In Scotland, the title first appears in the 15th century, when it may have referred to a prebend in the Church of St. Mary on the Rock. St. Andrews. In 1501 James IV founded a new chapel royal in Stirling Castle, but from 1504 onwards the deanery was held by successive bishops of Galloway with the title of Bishop of the Chapel Royal and authority over all the royal palaces within Scotland. The deanery was annexed to the bishopric of Dunblane in 1621, and the chapel royal was removed to Holyrood. The office of dean was suppressed with the abolition of prelacy in 1689, and the revenues of the chapel royal reverted to the Crown. Grants from these revenues were made to individual Church of Scotland ministers, and from 1727 onwards part was allocated to 3 royal chaplains, known collectively as the Deans of the Chapel Royal. Replacement of these chaplains by professors of the divinity faculties in the University of Glasgow, the University of Aberdeen, Edinburgh University and the University of St Andrews took place between 1860 and 1868. In 1886 the office of Dean was revived and united by royal warrant to that of Dean of the Thistle, eventually being separated in 1969. Under the 1886 royal warrant, the dean is also titular abbot of Crossraguel and abbot of Dundrennan. Office holders since revival 1887 to 1910. Cameron Lees, minister of St Giles Cathedral until 1906 and dean of the Thistle, 1910 to 1926. Wally Williamson, minister of St Giles Cathedral and dean of the Thistle, 1926 to 1969. Charles Waugh, dean of the Thistle and sometime minister of St Giles Cathedral, 1969 to 1973. James Longmuir, sometime minister at Chirnside, 1974 to 1981. Hugh Douglas, minister at Dundee until 1977, 1981 to 1991. Robin Barber, New Testament professor, 1991 to 1996. William Morris, minister of Glasgow Cathedral, 1996 to 2006. James Harkness, chaplain in ordinary to the Queen, 2006 to 2013. John Cairns, minister at Riverside Parish Church, Dumbarton, 2013 present. Ian Torrens, emeritus professor of patristics, chaplain in ordinary to the Queen and dean of the Thistle, Ireland. The Chapel Royal in Dublin Castle was the official Church of Ireland chapel of the household of the Lord Lieutenant of Ireland from 1814 until the creation of the Irish Free State in 1922. The chaplain of the Lord Lieutenant is styled Dean of the Chapel Royal. Office holders 1828 to 1831. George Bishop, Archdeacon of Agbardo, 1831 to 1842. Thomas Hawkins, 1842 to 1852. Charles Vignoles, Dean of Ossory from 1843, 1852 to 1860. Usher Tay, Dean of Leland until 1854, then Dean of Vardaga until 1858. 1860 to 1866. Charles Graves, Dean of Clonfert from 1864, 1866 to 1868. William McGee, Dean of Cork, 1868 to 1902. Hercules Dickinson, 1905 to 1913. Reginald Webster, 1914 to 1922. Charles O'Hara Mees,